Jeremy, I'm really excited to meet your
I
friend
am
Mindy.
too. I am too. This is gonna be fun.
You've met her before, though, right?
Oh, years ago. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everything Energy with Tina and Jeremy. We have a
Hi.
special guest today. Oh my gosh, I have to point the right way. We have a special guest. It's Mindy Pack. Oh my gosh. Mindy has been one of my besties for more than 10 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has it been more than 10 years? Oh
It's
God, we're
been more
getting
than
old.
10 years, but we're just going to say a lifetime because I feel like
Yeah.
we've been connected through many planes.
Yes, and we've been told by past life regression therapists that we were brother and sister in multiple lives. So we're just kind of we kind of vibe with that. We relate to that. But Mindy is a vocal coach to the stars. She does what's called vocal tract reconditioning, and she also does full body massage. And in all of that, she infuses all of her intuition and spiritual gifts at the same time. So we're going to talk to her about that today. Welcome,
Mm.
Mindy.
Yeah, welcome
Thanks
in.
for having me. I don't know. I've been so excited to do this because I love nerding out about this, and I always have questions for you, and randomly will reach
Mm.
out on different things. So this will be fun. I'm excited to see what questions you ask me and filter what I need to filter. But I promise I'll be a good interview host, guest, whatever it is.
Oh my gosh. We're unfiltered here. You can be as unfiltered as you want to.
Perfect. I mean, that's why we are best friends. So there we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So
So I
Mindy,
want to know, can I ask you real quick, though, how did you guys meet?
We met, well, kind of at my voice studio. He was working with another coach and I was in, but we actually ended up, I was music directing a show that needed Jared's voice. Like he just was like a perfect, smooth, like Michael Bublé kind of feel. And so I coerced him into like stepping back into the performance field and coming and singing with a live jazz band. And we did a performance together. I directed, and he was one of the singers in, and then it was kind of like we were inseparable after that.
yeah.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
know
Yeah.
about this. Is this
Yeah.
video recorded somewhere?
somewhere. Yeah, I think I have it. I think I have it on.
Mm.
I think I have it on DVD somewhere. I mean, I'd have to figure out how to rip it down, but yeah,
Mm.
I have it somewhere. I'll see if I can
Yeah.
find it. Yeah, it's good. Jared was
Yeah.
great. He was a dancer, so he got like smooth moves up there, and his voice is just silky when he sings. And yeah,
Mm.
it was a great addition to the show. And yeah, ever since then, it's just kind of been steamroll ahead.
I think this is news to a lot of people listening in that Jeremy is got that gift.
Yeah, I don't do it very much. I don't sing
No.
very often, but I'm looking forward to getting back into my creativity and exercising my voice again. I'm very out of practice, so my voice does not sound what it used to sound like. But
Mhm.
Mindy is the kind of person that can whip my voice back into shape anytime I want to. So,
And Jared's the only one that I'll ever sing a duet with. Truly.
oh yeah,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like Jared and I sing. We sing when we sing together. It's actually. I'll send you something so you can. I'll email you a song that Jared and I did
Oh,
together.
yeah.
I would love that.
I don't. I mean, I do, but like on a regular, Jared's who I would typically duet with. Like we counterbalance each other really well with our
We
voices.
Mm.
do. We do.
Yeah,
Our voices sound really nice blended together. So,
Mm.
there we go.
Goodness. So do you want to get started, Jeremy?
yeah, I would love for you, Mindy, to just kind of share with everyone what it is that you do and also how you got into it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that getting into it's interesting. But yeah, so I'm a voice coach. I was a professional singer from a very young age. When I was 16, I left high school and moved to Japan and performed over there for a while. So, like, performing, being on stage was something I've always done. Came back, when graduated high school and was like, oh, I kind of want to teach. And I was kind of still doing these different projects around the world singing, but I got asked to teach at a performing arts studio. So I started doing that and I loved it while I was going to school. Um, about when I started doing it, teaching privately, and I'm a big believer in manifestation. and like writing out your goals and like putting it out there. So I remember when I was doing like my first years of teacher training, when I was trying to figure things out, like you go and you have the class where list your 10 goals like that you want to be as a coach. And I remember being like, oh, I want to be able to listen to my clients. I want to be able to teach stage confidence and like microphone technique and empowerment, like kind of go through. But my number 8 was one day I'll work with Justin Timberlake. And I never knew if that was, like there was just like a wishful goal, but that was something that I knew I wanted to work with like serious singers. And through a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work, and really kind of empowering myself with different knowledge because I never wanted to be pigeonholed into one specific thing. I started doing all this different training into different areas. And that led me to working in LA and then like networking with a lot of people. And then from there, it turned into, I work, I do work with some of the biggest stars that are currently on the radio right now. So, I'm very lucky because I get to travel the world and I get to work with these amazing singers, which still for me feels my passion of performing because I'm one small cog in helping somebody reach the millions of people. So it's like very gratifying. But I don't just work with stars. So I work with a lot. I do like a lot of voice rehab. I work with young kids too. So it just depends on if there's a passion. So for me, it's just about helping people find their voice and feeling confident in their voice, whether it's singing or speech, if it's been vocal damage or whatever. Um, how I really got into being very, very serious about it instead of just, teaching out of a studio in Salt Lake was I went back to school to become a clinical vocologist where I really studied the science behind how the voice works and like just really nerdy things to try and get it to come together. And it was I didn't realize I needed it at the time, and I'm sure Jarrett will talk about the why behind it. But I had a son who was kidnapped when he was 4 months old, and leading up to that age, I had been having these like dreams that it was going to happen, and when it happened, because I had been having these dreams that it was going on, I was able to react very fast. I got him back, and he's fine. He's now 16, and he's now in the crux of my teenage. Why am I a parent phase? But I love him dearly. But, because of that situation, like, I actually stopped teaching, I stopped singing, I stopped everything because it was just so traumatic for me. But what happened was 4 months in after that happened, I actually ended up getting vocally injured. But so my stress and my everything settled in my throat, into that situation, and it was a very difficult time for me because not only was I dealing with, like, this PTSD moment with watching my son getting carried away, but it also was my voice was my identity, and I had never, ever had an issue with it, and when I lost it, it like unraveled all of this information in my community, my teaching network, like everything kind of shunned me. And it was like a very shameful, like, what did you do? But they didn't understand that I didn't do anything. It was from this emotional experience. So because of that, that led me into going to get this clinical vocology education because I didn't want anybody, no matter at what level, to feel like a loss of empowerment or felt like shame or guilt because it was something that they couldn't control. And so it forced me down into this like rehabilitation kind of setting, which only brought so much information and wealth of knowledge so that I can do these larger, more intense situations with touring artists, but then also massage therapy school because down another rabbit hole, knowledge is power, and you realize that your whole body is connected to your voice. And so, this vocal tract reconditioning is specifically for voice users who are struggling with voicing their opinion. And it's helped from voice injury. I've worked with a therapist who's been helping women from sex trafficking. And so I'll go in and help do all this stuff to work it through into just like the actual wear and tear of being a heavy voice user. So my job is very niche. It's very unique. There's not a lot of us that do what I do. Um, at the level that I do it, and so I feel very, very lucky and feel like it is for sure the purpose of what my life is supposed to be.
Wow, what an incredible story. Thank
Yeah,
you
it
for
could be like
sharing
a
that.
10 podcast, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that I know Jeremy and I are always paying attention to is how, the trauma, emotional trauma, things they how they manifest, how they end up, physically creating situations and harm in our bodies. And it's I'm being a little bit selfish here, making it a little bit about me, but even coming on today, I've had to mute myself so many times because I'm coughing. And that's why one of the reasons why we wanted to have this conversation with you is about when you do decide you want to step up and share your voice and speak your truth. I start coughing on this
Interesting.
podcast. And so I have to hit the mute button. I'm muting myself because, that's the way I was brought up. My parents muted me, or society muted me. And so I'm sitting here on this podcast with Jeremy because we were like, let's put ourselves out there. Let's be honest. And I get on here and Jeremy's had to cover my butt a few times because I have to hit the mute button to cough all of this, acid reflux out of my system every morning.
Yep.
It's amazing how our bodies try to protect us from these old ways.
Yeah, and I think that's like a dive. I mean, as a body worker and like physically touching, um, like working through energetically and when you're very present, I had to, when I first went to massage school, I had to figure out because for a while when I started working on people, I would come home just like physically sick. Like I would like sit there and I like, because I was pulling whatever it was in their body out into
Mm,
me.
yeah.
And so I had to figure out, okay, how do I work this and protect myself, but also help push whatever needs to be pushed
Hmm.
through their body. So the fact that you have that, it's normal. Like there's a lot of people that store it
Mm,
that they don't actually realize that. There are so we could look at it energetically, we could look at it physically, like what's your diaphragm doing, what's your stomach doing,
mm,
and see how that's correlated. And then there's also voice stuff that we can do to help, like with the coffee component or coughing, not coffee because we love coffee, but
mhm,
coffee component to see how that can regulate. So that is something that because I'm able to physically touch, because of being a therapist and go through that, we can help navigate that to go.
wow.
But there's a lot of people, like there's many times where like even just touching the throat, like before I even put my hands there, like I have learned very fast where I have to ask, were you ever choked or strangled? Because
Mm,
putting it on there right out the gate can trigger a lot of things. So there's like questions that are in
mm,
addition to outside. But a lot of times when we go into that, my massages, as Jared knows, because he's come and done one, but like it's very vocal. Like I don't let you just sit
mm,
there and be like quiet. So while we're actually like doing stuff, it's like you've got to moan, you got to like make this like vocal
mhm,
primal thing because we also know that vibration is healing, and that we need to have vibration in the body and certain things go through. And um, from a musical standpoint, hertz, like certain hertz, where hertz is a frequency that you can hear,
mhm,
binary beats that, if you're into all of that, but like certain hertz will affect a release of sorts for different parts of your body going through. So there's a lot that can kind of come into it from a whole body perspective for healing and for that journey.
wow. I'm coming to see you.
I'll get you
Great. I'll wait as long as I have to.
in.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because when I refer people to Mindy, like if they're having vocal issues or acid reflux, I'm like, "You need to see my friend Mindy," and they're
Mhm,
like, "But she's a vocal coach," and I'm like, "Well,
yeah,
I don't know how to explain exactly what she does, but she can really help you to kind of get your voice, conditioned to a point where the coughing isn't bothering you anymore, or you're able
mhm.
to do these vocal exercises and implement different things that you can do for vocal health that will help."
Mm,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, so there's like a physical, there's a holistic, there's a medical, like, like getting a team strategy in place. So, yeah, it's I love what I do. It's fun. It's something new every single half hour when I see people. So,
Well, I love that you're so intuitive, and I know that's innate in you. So like when somebody's in your space, on your table or whatever, are you picking up, like, are you like kind of coaching, not like vocal coaching, but like life coaching too? Picking up some messages or anything like that when they're with you?
yeah, I mean, it depends on the person, and
Mm,
if I feel like they're open to a conversation in there.
yeah.
I know, like, my tell sign is if when I am moving energy or I'm moving something through, I physically burp. Like, I'm literally, like, pulling it out
Mm.
and I have to burp. It's, like, really annoying. I mean, it's not loud. It's not like a "bleh" in there, but I have, like, little, like where I, like, literally have, like, these little puffs where I'm, like, pushing out. And so I'll usually start leading them to be like, something's, like, stuck right here, like, what memories are coming up or, like, what are you feeling right now? Like, is something happening? And, like, get them to process what's there while I'm helping shift. And sometimes they're like, "I don't know, it just feels good," and other times there were there's been some pretty heavy, conversations that have come out of it and just let them cry, like just cry on the table or like that's why I feel like vocalizing while we're doing it and just like like just some sort of like release to get it to go really, really helps to push. So it's uniquely, it's just dependent on the person that's in there.
Yeah.
Because, as
Wow.
you guys, some people are like very blocked with that sort of idea or thought. They're very, very, they're more logical versus like opening their ideas to like what the universe could be. But
Do
I'm
you
pretty
train other do you train other people to do what you do? Like, are you gonna open up a school?
It's in the process.
Oh.
It's hard because regulations as a body worker are very, very strict. Like
Mm,
for outside of Utah, like every state has their own regulation, and some don't. So I'm just my partner and I are trying to regulate how to do that. So a course has already started to be developed, and
mm,
like go through. We're just trying to see if we can get it an accredited course for body workers,
mm.
to see how that goes. So yeah, it's something that we're I don't know, Jerry, you'll have to tell me in my next chart. But it's something that
I
we're
think
like looking at for possibly like 2026. I have to finish up
So
a few of these tours through 2025 and then my kind of flexibility opens up a little bit more towards the end of next year.
well, that's a horse year, and so your ambition trinity is gonna get quadrupled of whatever
Great.
you wanna do, put it out there.
No more work. Let me rest. Just kidding. I'll be so bored if that happens.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever gonna happen, Mindy. Every time you
Yeah.
go on vacation, you are pulled back into work somehow, so, yeah.
Yep. It's been funny because my husband and I lead these humanitarian trips and we like plan for 10 months, but like we go very remote for 2.5 weeks in these like individual locations. And every time I have gone, like 2 days before I'm leaving, I get a call from like a huge name that's like, we need you to start in 5 days. And I'm like, I'm leaving on this trip. I'm so sorry. If you can wait till I can get back, great. If not, I'm going into the Amazon. I'm so sorry. It's like, can we
Where there's
please
no
plan ahead?
phone service at all.
Like, can we just plan ahead so we can make it. So yeah, so I've lost some, I've lost some names, and in
Mm.
my mind, it doesn't matter because I wasn't supposed to be with them anyway, but it's funny because I literally cannot have a vacation where there's something not going on with work unless I like that's why I go on cruises because nobody can get a hold of me on a cruise.
Where's your next trip, your humanitarian trip?
We just agreed to do Nepal.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so we're gearing up to go in June to Nepal this year, and I'm
What do
very
you what do you what are you gonna do when you get there?
so I the team we take the team, and it's usually ages 16 to like 23.
Mm,
And we have 5 missions that we kinda focus on. So we have a cultural kind of exchange, so you really kind of get to know the people. So like lots of arts, music. We do
Mm,
home visits. We can actually go in. We have an eco project. So in the past, we've brought in sustainable water. So like big water filtration systems or sustainable gardening so that they have years and years of like
mm,
rotating crop that's more vertical versus
yeah.
space.
Mhm.
Um, and we set up like, I don't know, a lot. We have a big medical fair where we usually teach about a
Mm,
lot of our missions have been about women's health, because
mm,
in third world countries, there's such a lack of education,
yeah.
as far as just health concerns on that and consent and like what's great and what's not, but also just other medical components to it. And then we have a business committee where we usually set up, how to run a business, like what it takes to run a business. And usually
Oh,
we either give a grant to help build it or we do some sort of trade internship where we like facilitate how to be like we just did Africa and we did woodworking. And so we like did a whole furniture making component and hired
mm,
15 people to learn the skill. And then they built out the desks for the school that we were working in. And so it's
wow.
like this, but it's all about sustainability. So it's not like a one and done thing. So like when the organization I go with is called Youth Link, and when we go in, they sustain it for like 4 years. So like what we start, then they have like this filtering that kind of goes back to make sure there's checks and balances going through, which I love. And it's, I love it because it's a non-denominational program. And so as a leader, I can't discuss religion and I can't discuss politics and I can't discuss economics, like what everybody's thing is. So it forces my kids to be outside of their comfort zone with a random hodgepodge group of kids to like learn how to communicate, but they also have to do local humanitarian work here in order to qualify. So it's about building leadership and humanitarianism and that here in your local community before you just go out to a third world country to do it. So
Wow.
I love it. It, like, feeds my soul. It's so much
Wow.
work, like, Jared can tell you, because like, as I get ready to go, I'm like, "Tell me I'm never doing this
I'm
again!"
never doing it again. I'm never
Just
doing it again. And then
remind me, and then I'm like, "Alright,
a
I did
month
it
later,
anyway."
they're like, she'll be like, guess what I'm doing next year? Yeah, like, yeah,
That's the
But I
double
love
dog, right?
yeah.
but I
The
I love it because it keeps me grounded. Like, I'm
mm,
like in my job, I'm flying on private jets, and I'm, like, with, like,
yeah.
these top to top, and I have this different kind of not perspective, but I guess experiences that that a lot
Mm,
of people don't get. Like it's not normal, and I'm aware of that. But you can get arrogant with that, or you can get
mm,
heady with that kind of thing. And I never want to be that way. And so this also keeps me very, very grounded. And what it's done for my just own family, like I'll never, you can't, you know, I can't talk enough about those experiences, although it's a lot of work.
yeah.
So
Wow. Yeah, it seems like you're just not afraid of the hard work. You're not afraid of the effort and the time that it's gonna take to do anything,
no,
whatever it
I
is.
no is not an answer for me. Like, when people
Mhm.
tell me no, I'll just be like, "Well, I'll just figure out another way."
Hmm.
Like, going through I guess the only time I no is not is when my husband, like, will officially come down and say no, and he never really does, but I know when he does, then I'm like, "Alright, I'll listen to you."
Yeah, I have to note here, Brandon does not say no very often.
Mm-mm.
So when he does say no, we go, "Okay."
Yeah. No, and I've been, like, very, very respectful of that.
Yeah, you've been good. You've been really good.
We're like, yeah, and then we've been married 24 years, but, yeah, like, when he, like, officially has a hard opinion and he's like, "No, that's not gonna happen," I might be like, "Okay, well, tell me why, so I can just understand why you're a no." And then usually I'm like, "Okay,"
Yep.
because usually he's right.
Well, I
So,
kinda feel like
He's a
I've been
really good
asking all the
sport.
questions.
He's a really, really good sport.
yes, he is. He's the
Yep.
best. So
Yeah, because I would imagine he stays home when you're traveling, right?
yeah, he does. I mean, he has a high profile job too. So like we try not to travel at the same time. So I mean,
Mm.
there's been times where our dates, like we book our flights so we can have dinner at the airport together. So like I fly home,
Oh, wow.
we have dinner, and then he flies out and I come back to the house. So
Mm.
we try not to travel at the same time. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but for the
Yeah.
most part, yeah, we've been pretty good at that.
Well, Jeremy, I feel like I've asked all the questions. I'm sorry.
I love it.
I started
Well,
snooping.
I know all of the answers to these questions, so I love that you're asking these questions. Um, just kind of, we've got a lot of kind of weird questions that are
Yeah.
totally off topic that we like to ask, and one of them is, well, first of all, can you share with people if you know the answer to this question? I've got the answer to this question in front of me, but do you know your Western astrology, your sun, moon, and rising, or do you want me to share with everyone what that is?
Okay, I think I know because I ask
Okay.
you all the time.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know which one is which. So I know I'm like a Sagittarius rising,
Yep.
right?
You've got a Sagittarius moon, just like
Moon.
Tina,
Mhm.
and you've
Um,
got
I don't know, Jared. Just tell it because I'm going to make myself sound like a dumbass anyway. So just tell
okay.
me.
So
I just
Mindy is
listen.
a
I
Pisces.
cannot micromanage this. I just call you and say, "What's the
I
month?"
know.
And
I know.
fine.
It's great. It's
Like
great.
that's you are my personal astrologer, so I just make sure you remember it and just tell me what the fuck I'm doing
I
versus
know.
me having to retain it.
Yep. Okay. So Mindy is this Pisces sun.
Knew that.
Pisces is the sign of the empath. So, as we're talking about all of her relief work and her humanitarian efforts, that would be that Pisces kind of empathy energy. Um, Her moon is in Sagittarius, which is the philosopher and the adventurer, the one that wants to teach and impart wisdom. And also, she has a Libra rising, which is all about balance. It's the justice scales, fighting for the underdog and bringing balance to the world. So that's kind of
Mm.
cool. And then her Chinese astrology is, if we're starting from left to right, she is the hour of the dog, the day of the dog, the month of the tiger, and the year of the horse.
Mm.
Which I hear is a trifecta.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It's a double
Like,
trifecta.
yeah, with some
Mhm.
and I don't understand that as much, but Jared just is like, your chart's awesome. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
both Eastern and Western, her charts are pretty cool. And that trifecta is really cool because when you get those three animals together, the dog, the tiger, and the horse, that's called the Trinity of Ambition. So this is why you're so ambitious and why, no is not an answer because
Mhm.
none of those animals will allow that answer to thrive within you. So you find ways around it so that you can move forward. Which is kind of cool because not a lot of people have this trinity in their chart. I've only seen it a
Mhm.
couple of times. Both of you have it.
Mhm.
I'm a little bit jealous. I would love to have that in my chart, but
That's why you
not.
surround yourself with some badass chicks right
I
here.
do. I do. And both of you know a lot of the people in my life, and I have surrounded myself with very powerful women. So
Mm.
I'm very, very thankful for that.
Mm. As are we.
Um, Here's another question. If and this is again kind of off topic, but if you were to travel into the future or into the past, which one would it be?
I would probably go past because
Why?
future okay, so everybody wants to know the future. I don't. I want to create my future. And I think if I were to go into the future, it would define decisions and choices that I would make and I would have a hard time keeping the future secret from people. And like
Yeah.
I know it's going to
Yeah,
happen here.
horses don't keep secrets.
Yeah, and I believe that and so like I feel like we define our future like by choices that we make and there's consequences whether positive or negative to each choice so wouldn't want my future to be known because I think it would limit what experiences I might experience in the now past. I'd go back to the past because I have questions that I feel could be answered. Like I really want to do a past life kind of reading because I want to see if intuitively what I feel if it's real or not, and like kind of define that. And I want to see why I feel drawn to certain places.
Hmm.
Like what that would be. So I'd probably go past.
Yeah. Is there a
That's such a good
specific like era or location in the past that you'd want to
I
go to?
have, yeah. So there's two that I want to go to, and I one for sure is Ireland. I feel like there's a major
Mhm.
connection for me somewhere in Ireland. I don't know time period wise, but there's like all like all I think about are the meadows, and there's some sort of magic there that at some point I'm supposed to go experience, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know when. So Ireland has a connection to me, and um, the other part is Egypt somehow. Like I
Mhm.
just feel really,
Oh,
really
wow.
drawn. But there's two. I mean, I've traveled the world, and there's two places I've yet to get to, and I think I need to experience it either independently or for sure
Mhm.
not with work. Like I have to be able like to just go. Like Ireland is like I know exactly where I want to go. Like I'm physically drawn to this like one place, and I want to
Wow.
be there for like 2 months. Like I don't want to do anything. So I don't know, and I'm waiting to see when the time happens.
That has to be past life stuff, right? It has to be.
I would think.
I would, yeah. So I want to kind of do yeah, I actually did. So one of the body workers in my studio, she's a medical intuitive, and we kind of went in, and it was funny 'cause she knew nothing about me. She knew nothing about what I did for a job, like at all. Like I had met her
Mm.
maybe 5 minutes and then through text. And I had a pretty powerful like session with her. And in that session, certain things that I had felt my whole life like came through in that session with her.
Mhm.
And so I feel like it's very correlated, but I don't know. We'll see.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
So,
exciting.
mhm.
Yeah. Salem too. Salem. Like I love freaking
Oh, yeah.
Salem.
We
Not
should go
Salem,
to
Utah.
Salem together.
I know. Like I feel like I'm like, was I like it? Like I like I've talked to Jer about it. I'm like, was I think I was a healer or something like that past life, or like there's some sort of like healing component that comes in from different
Mm.
things just because things keep
Yeah.
coming in different spouts. And I don't know. I don't know. Weird.
It's cool.
I know. I love
I
it.
think it's way cool. Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, what's the next question?
I'm
What do you got, Tina?
well, we have a question here that we typically ask. Is there can you you don't have to name names, but is there somebody that you've worked with in the vocal arena that you work in that there was just such a profound like aha moment or experience for the two of you or just that person that just really shifted things that could kind of speak to what it's like to have an experience with you? I know that's kind of tough to think of off the cuff, but maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think every artist teaches me something different about myself and the
Mm,
industry because everybody, I talk about a vocal fingerprint. Like everybody has their own unique fingerprint in from how we train, how they sing, who they are as a person. So nothing is cookie cutter when you're even at any level, but at the high level, nothing's cookie cutter because your experiences define you. So I think for me, it's working with um like I worked with Lil Nas X, and our experience working together was probably one of the biggest growing experiences for me as a coach because I had to totally rethink how to work with him as an artist. Yeah, I mean, it's just everybody's unique and different. So I don't know if I have one particularly, but I will say that if I don't feel a connection to him, I don't work with him.
mm, mm.
And
That's
I'll
cool.
refer out, so like if I'm investing my energy and time, like there has
Mhm.
to be a connection to work with it. Otherwise, I won't do it.
That's a brilliant thing, right, Jeremy, for a double dog to say, because
Yeah,
typically dogs struggle with boundaries and they
they do.
take it on. Like you said, sometimes I'll walk away and I've just taken it all on because they're the empaths of the zodiac. And
Yeah.
so that's amazing that you have those kind of boundaries for yourself. Because
Yeah, I
typically
mean,
it's give, give, give.
it is. Well, and I do that. Like boundaries is something that I like constantly every year have to work on it. You know,
Mm,
like going through it where it's like, "Okay, what will I do? What will I know?" And it really like I usually am in a give, give, give until it's like I can't do it anymore.
mm,
And
mhm.
then it's like a flip with me because then I'm like, wham, like right back down. And it's a
Yeah.
different side that people usually don't see. But I've just learned, for me it's not about the money. Like I don't to me, I don't it's not I'm not gonna take and work with somebody and leave my family, uproot my life, and go out
Mm,
if there's not that connection of respect and
yeah.
also, like, willing to learn, and,
Mhm,
like, those people, sometimes I won't tour with them, I'll just do everything online and remote it, but there's, times where I've just been like, "Yeah, we're just not a good fit, but you're gonna be great with this person," and so I
mhm.
just, like, refer.
Is there somebody you really wanna work with right now?
I would love I mean, anybody, but I'm kinda nervous because I love them so much, but this is my manifestation, but
Mhm.
it makes me nervous because, when they say, like, "Never meet your idol," because I love them so much, but I think we'd jam really well together, but I would really love to meet John Mayer and work with John Mayer.
Oh, cool.
I just freaking love him so much. So yeah, that and I would love to people make fun of me for this too, but I would really love to work with Justin Bieber. We have the same
Yeah.
birthday, and I think we would be good together. Like, I think our personalities would be, like, would really jive,
Yeah.
like, going through some things, so I would love him, and I would always love to I mean, I've met her, I just haven't worked with her yet, but I would love to work with Pink. So,
Mm. That'd be cool.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool, so,
I think Justin
but
Bieber's misunderstood. I think we just don't know enough.
Yep.
Have we
yeah,
pulled his
100.
chart?
I have, and unfortunately, I think we're about to learn a lot more about him, but
Oh.
with all of the things that are going on in the media, I feel really
Mhm.
bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to work with him
Mm.
on something, so I
That'd
don't
be
know, we'll see,
cool.
we'll see what the universe has in store for me. I mean, who knows, maybe I won't be touring much longer and things shift a different way, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So, I'm open to all possibilities.
Mhm. Yeah, I admire that about you, and I think the thing I love the most about you, because this is where I struggle, even though we have very similar charts, I don't have the physical and mental energy that you have, and I'm so just in awe of that, of how much energy you're willing to just not invest into things, but what you're willing to take on and say yes to. I think
Mhm.
it's just admirable, the energy that you bring.
Mm,
Um,
thank you.
just in your vibe too, of course. I
Well,
think
thank
it's
you.
cool. Mhm.
Thank you.
Very
Yeah, I mean,
impressive.
there's definite days, Jared can attest to this too, where I'm, like, depleted, and then I have to
Mm,
but I'm really good at when I get to that point, I literally shut down everything, and I take time to rejuvenate. Like, I
mhm,
know now, like, there's one time I think it was last year where it was rough. Like I had been gone a lot and there was just a lot like happening. And I knew that if I didn't get out of here, get into some sun and like really decompress, I was
mm,
gonna not make it. So I called my travel agent and I said, I think it was on a Thursday. And I was like, is there a cruise I can get on Sunday for a week? I don't care where we go. I just need to sleep and I need the sun.
mm.
And, she goes, "Yeah, I can get you on one on Sunday." She's like, "Is your husband coming?" I was like, "I don't know. Hold the ticket. I'll give him 24 hours to decide." And he came home from work, and he's like I'm like, "Okay, so I go, "I'm flying out on Sunday." And he's like, "Who you going with?" I was like, "Nowhere. I booked a cruise." And he's like, "For you?" And I was like, "Well, there's a ticket for you if you wanna come, but the rule is you can't work and you can't bring your laptop, and you have 24 hours to decide, and I'm not booking it for you, so you're gonna have to call us and decide if you wanna go." I'm going.
Mhm.
So he literally was like, "What in the world?" And I was like, "Yeah, I need a break, and I can't nope, I'm doing it. Like, I'm not gonna be good to you, and I'm not gonna be good to the
Yeah.
kids if I do
Mhm.
not do this."
Yeah.
And, yeah, and so he's like, "Okay." And his chart's funny, like, Jared could tell you, but he's not, like, impulsive like that at all. And so but he came. He booked it, we left, and it was the best. We had the best
Oh,
time, and yeah, so, it does life gets to you and it's hard, but,
mm,
like,
yeah.
I definitely when I get there, like, I will put down that, like, I have to recharge. If I don't, then I can't be successful.
So speak on the tail of that, because life is really hard. Like, what do you think of what's going on in the world right now? When you go to other worlds, you said you don't talk about politics and religion and economics. But what do you think what's happening in the world right now, or specifically in the United States?
I mean, yeah, United States ready to implode here in a second. So, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with, like, this next election. From from a touring perspective, I've been, like, looking at, like, where am I supposed to be on election day week and
Mm.
inauguration and deciding if I do wanna go out or not or, like, what's happening.
Oh, wow.
Um, from a world perspective, you know, hearing people talk about what's happening in the United States has been, like, really fascinating, and seeing how what's happening in the United States does affect their country economically and going through things. So, like, seeing that from a global scale has been, like, educating and interesting. But when you go into what like, from the humanitarian side, going into these villages, I mean, they don't have internet. They don't have like, when we went to Africa, we showed them a computer for the first time. They had never seen the internet at all. And, the simplicity in the way they live, and they are so happy, has been what something that my family has tried to bring back, that stuff doesn't make you happy, and you can find that like, our theme a lot of the times is finding joy in simplicity, and you don't need all the stuff, you don't need all of this, and for me, that's been very grounding, and, we just try and the gratitude. So I think it's finding gratitude in your everyday, which can be very, very difficult, but I am a believer of, you put out what you take in. So if you're a pessimist and you're saying all the negative things and all of that, that is what will attract you. I never say the glass is half full, the glass is half empty. I always say the glass is always full because it's full of water and air. It's just how much you have of each, you know? So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'm a very positive person anyway. So, and there are hard things, but I always try and find, like, when I'm going through something that's hard, it's like, what am I supposed to learn in this? And like, how can I become better from whatever I'm experiencing right now? But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be, I mean, United States is going to be interesting. From the music industry, there's a lot going on right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out with all of that and politics. So I think it's going to be a rough few years, like seeing there, but hopefully, when something implodes, the only way you can go is bring it back together. So I hope that maybe you have to have the implosion in order to get unity again.
Mm.
I don't know.
Well said. Yeah,
That is well said. I love
yeah.
that. So Mindy, what do you have coming up? How can people connect with you? I know that you are promoting some products right now. What's going on there?
I mean, you can all follow me at just my Mindy Pack on Instagram if you want. That's also my website, Mindy with a Y. But yeah, I mean, this there's something always going on. I mean, from a posting standpoint, I try and, like, bring people humor by posting funny stuff that happens online and touring and, like, behind the scenes so you can, like, hear different things. I have a product that I developed called the Voice Straw, that is a tool for people to get their voices heard and balanced. Oh, you got it right there. Yeah, so it's more than just a straw, but it's a way of, like, getting your voice in balance, set up the right way so that you can speak, sing, talk clearly in an optimum position. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm teaching, doing body work, and I mean, I'm going all over the world next year teaching, actually. So
Wow.
not only am I touring, I have a big international teaching conference in Italy. I have another one in Australia, going through. So globally, there's a lot that's happening.
Wow. Wow,
That's
wow,
so
wow.
cool.
I'm already tired. Looks like I need to book another cruise here really fast.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need to get on that like this week.
But
Oh,
yeah.
this has been
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you so much, Mindy, for coming here and
Yeah.
doing this for us. It's been so nice to have you on.
yeah.
Thank you so much for answering all of the questions.
All of my
And
questions.
we have so much that we want to share with people, and we're just glad that you could come on and share today.
Yeah, if I can leave with one thing, okay?
Yes,
I'm gonna
Yes.
please.
because I always love leaving with something tactical. Like, what is something somebody can do for their voice? And I've been thinking, like we're energy, this podcast is energy, but like, what is a task somebody can do? And there's all these amazing apps out there that have chakra tuning with different hertz. So each
Mhm.
chakra vibrates at a different hertz. And ironically enough, um, in the binary beat of the universe. Okay, it was all done through in like old monks and like yoga meditation. But and I don't have the source, so maybe I'm gonna say it wrong. But with World War Two, one, Hitler, he did not like the sound of what the universal beat was of it. And so that's when orchestras started tuning to a different frequency. And it wasn't tuned with what the universe goes on. It's
Oh
fascinating
my
part of
gosh, that's
Wow.
yeah, so
crazy.
there's
I
another
didn't
deep
know
dive
that.
that you could go down. Yeah, so, like, that's why A440 all of a sudden got tuned, but the universal binary beat is different. The frequency of the world is on a different beat. So, you can actually find musicians out there that they do their tuning to the universal beat versus the standard A440. So and you can hear the difference in what the music is.
Mm.
Anyway, there's another rabbit hole. But when you listen to there's something where you can find the chakra tuning from old school monks before World War II era, where you can hear the different sound healings in there. And so, if you're feeling blocked or stuck anywhere in your body with whatever chakra that could be, you can start going and listening to that. A, while you get body work done, it's important. D or B, during meditation. But if you're vocally stuck and you're trying to go through that, you can do something where you want to hum it, so like your standard ohm, going into like and you can frequency change with it, like actually vocalize while you're listening to it,
Mm.
or make any sort of vibration or physically shake your body while you're listening to that, and that will help release some of the energy or the maybe stuff that's stuck going through there with there. But you can look at the correlation between post World War II. So was Hitler World War II? I'm sorry, I'm not a history buff. Like I
Mhm.
can't World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah. So World War II and later versus what like it was the frequency was tuned prior to that.
That's cool. I'll have to go see if I can find a source. And share a
Yeah.
link in
And
the
if
description.
anybody else wanted to like rabbit hole as well, there is something where typically a frequency for women is higher than men. So a lot of
Mm.
the stuff is based on universal, but it's more down into where the frequency would be for men. But in old school, like way like the birth of Buddha time, when they started looking at like what those frequency was, there was a difference between male and female frequencies based
Mm.
on body. So
Wow.
like for somebody that's a deep dive nerd that wanted to go into that, that could be something that could take it. But always hum. Like
Mm.
when you're trying to release on a frequency, always create some sort of physical shake or verbal like on that same pitch. Wah, like a didgeridoo or something. You can like just
Yeah.
create sounds like going through there.
Well, it's like a mother giving birth, right? She's got to moan and scream and agonize through that to release.
Mhm.
So, oh, thank you
Well,
for sharing that. That was
well,
actually
yeah, we already know too. Sorry, this is where I'll nerd out too. We already
mm,
know that you have all these fascial planes in your body. 7 of them end in your throat. So when people have like a foot issue or something like that, we know it will manifest in the voice at some point down the road. Or a voice issue could lead to having something out going down that train. So when you vibrate and physically move, not only if you're like focusing just on your throat because of the attachments of the fascia, because fascia is where they say your energies and all that is stored, like your memories, everything is in your fascial planes. And so when you start going and getting that whole connection going through, your whole body can open up with it.
wow.
So
Wow.
yeah,
We need more time. I need to book an appointment. That's it.
We're like part 2 next Friday.
Exactly. An ongoing series with Mindy Pack.
I know, let's do it. It's like book club all over again.
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for leaving us with that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries. So, but thanks for having me and all of that. And Jared knows ride or die, man. I'll do anything for you. So
Oh, I
Oh,
know. Thank you.
hopefully
Same
somebody thinks
here.
this is an interesting topic.
this is great. Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Anytime.
Bye-bye.
See you later.